All right. Kia ora, everyone. I hope you're all having a good night. I'm Danielle from Summer of Tech. I just have a few housekeeping notes to go over before we start. So we are recording, so feel free to have your cameras off and change your display names, but it is nice to see your faces and connect, so feel free to keep them on if you can. The recording for this bootcamp will be up within 48 hours. So if you're a Summer of Tech candidate, you can check tomorrow in the event listing and it will be posted up there. And for Summer of Tech students, just a reminder that you are representing Summer of Tech and you need to abide by our code of conduct. So please be kind and generous and create a safe space where everyone is safe and welcome. And lastly, a massive thanks to Greg and the BA Career Meetup team for volunteering their time tonight. Make sure you chuck a huge thank you message in the chat at the end to show your appreciation. And I will pass you over to Greg.
Okay, thank you so much, Danielle, for the kind introductions. Well, just want to make sure my screen's showing up okay. Everyone can see it?
Yes.
Cool, awesome. All right, well, some formal introduction. So, kia ora koutou katoa, ko Greg Ng toku ingoa. Nau mai, haere mai ki te intro to business analysis. So, kia ora everyone. So, my name's Greg from BA Career Meetup, and I'm joined by one of our awesome volunteers, Caroline Focke. So big welcome everyone again to attending from Summer of Tech and also from our BA Career Meetup audience. Really appreciate you all being here tonight for our Intro to Business Analysis talk. So just to begin, I just want to get to know a little bit about everyone, including who you are a little bit. So I'm just going to move over to the slide and hopefully I'll be able to present a word cloud once I get my head around this. Yeah, using a tool called Slido. So if you all could log in using the QR code or link here that I'll just quickly put into the chat. And yeah, I just want to get an idea as to where everyone's from, a little bit about your study background, and also what year you're in, so we can understand a little bit more about our audience. But by the way, the person on there was quite possibly me, being based in Wellington and also recently graduated from Victoria University and business analysis. And also, just to let you know, we'll be using Slido throughout the presentation. So if you could just give us a little bit of an idea. If you stay logged in during this presentation, that would be great. Cool. So just seeing, we've got people coming in from Auckland, a lot of people from Auckland, it seems. People from Wellington, got people doing from University of Otago, different years, some people first year, second year, third year, some people undergrad, postgraduate, see software engineering, got people here doing marketing, systems, comp sci, analytics, and yeah. Cool, very nice, very nice. I see we've got 33 people logged in so far. So I'll just wait till it gets up a little bit more so everyone gets a chance to log in. Right, very cool, very cool. All right, so it's really cool to see people from all around the motu come along to our talk today and also from all sorts of different study majors and also all years as well. So that's really cool to see. The next thing that I would like to move on to is just talk a little bit about BA Career Meetup and who we are and what we aim to do. So our mission is to help new in career and aspiring business analyst professionals transition into industry. So first and foremost, we're a volunteer organization building a community for business analysts to share their insights, experience, and tips to support new in career and aspiring BA professionals, most likely like yourselves, transition into the industry. And we focus on providing a platform to share stories, resources, and most importantly, a very supportive network to inspire and help develop pathways for business analysts' career success. So we're quite a new group, and we were founded by a good friend of Caroline and mine, Sophie Chen's, back in January of 2023. And since then, we've hosted over 35 online and in-person events and grow into a meetup community of just close to actually almost 1,500 members around New Zealand and also the world. So you can see down the bottom, we've been quite busy partnering with lots of different groups such as education providers, non-for-profits like Summer of Tech, recruitment agencies, and also different professional communities. You can get an idea of some of our events down the bottom there. So moving on, I just like to do a career meetup tradition, which is taking a photo. And it's also a great way to get everyone to turn on your cameras. So this is something that we've done every single online event, and I'd love to continue the tradition that we've built up. So if you could turn on your cameras, even just for 1 minute, I will take a little screenshot, and that there will go up on our marketing pages. And also a nice way to remember the occasion of us coming together. All right, we've got a lot of faces going on, so I will give a countdown and give me 1 moment just to get this tool up and going. Okay, so I will count down in 3, 2, 1. Okay, nice job, awesome. All right, so thanks for that there, everyone. Now that we've gotten to know each other a little bit, I'd like to move on for some introductions on our end. So firstly, Paige, does it? Caroline, if you'd like to just quickly introduce yourself, thanks.
Yeah, hi everyone, and greetings from Germany. I'm currently traveling, so I'm back in Europe. My name is Caroline, as Greg mentioned, and I would say I had a rather uncommon journey into the BA world. I started studying neuroscience at university and completed my studies with a PhD from the University of Otago in 2020. And then before I graduated, I transitioned into the private education sector as an instructional designer, where I was writing and designing life science teaching content, mainly for the tertiary education level. After, I would say, roughly 2.5 years, I then officially transitioned into the BA world, working for NZQA as a business analyst. And also roughly at the same time, starting to volunteer for the BA Career Meetup group to support others to move into this career as well, and by really sharing my story and supporting people, and yeah, building the network that Greg mentioned in the beginning. I would say my passion for solving problems definitely follows me into my spare time as well, where I love to go mountain biking or climbing. And as a fun fact, I can add that I have lived in 6 different countries. However, I call New Zealand home since 2017. Yeah, and that's me. I will hand it back to Greg so he can introduce himself.
So thanks, Caroline, for the awesome introduction there. And yeah, so just a little bit about myself. So my BA journey started off quite late in life. So originally, just to give a bit of context, I grew up in Upper Hutt, and then I did a Bachelor's of International Studies, International Relations, and Political Science. And that ended up leading me to work over in Asia, pretty much straight after university, working in Thailand and also Japan for a good 10 years, doing all sorts of things from the education sector to e-commerce and also recruitment and CRM and database management, primarily working in Tokyo. And then I guess when I returned to New Zealand at the beginning of 2021, that's where my BA journey really took off. Because to be honest, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to get into the tech industry. So that's why I started to do my postgraduate master's in business analysis at Victoria University with some really awesome classmates in the top left there. And then during that time there, one of my friends told me about Summer of Tech. And then I was lucky enough to get an internship via Summer of Tech at a company called Curious, which is the picture in the top middle there, which got me started developing my skills in things like data strategy, data analytics, consultancy, and also organizing 70s themed Christmas parties, with this picture there. And then that led me to then find my first postgraduate role, now working at a company called Red Vespa, which is a specialist New Zealand-owned business analysis consulting company. So similar to Caroline, during my free time, I'm really passionate about building the BA Career Meetup community. And it's been a really awesome project being a part, working with Sophie Chen, since we've known each other since university. I've also involved quite heavily in the New Zealand and Chinese community, particularly in the youth leadership and cultural community circles. And then also when I kind of get bored, I do things like charity boxing fights for mental health awareness. So that was me actually taking on a fight last year during IT Heavy Hitters to raise funds for this fantastic charity called Voices of Hope. So that's a little bit about me and Caroline. And if I just move over now, to set the scene a little bit before we talk about business analysis, as to why this talk is important, well, for us and yourselves. So really for us as BA Career Meetup members, we want to firstly help raise awareness about what a business analyst does in the New Zealand technology and ICT workforce. We also want to empower you a little bit about to help you understand about the business analyst position and also career pathways, and also inspire you a little bit about our own experiences and knowledge to help the next generation, being yourselves or future business analysts and of course tech workers. And finally, grow together. Being a joint event between our two communities, we want to bring everyone together to help achieve greater professional success and also for their own personal development too. So, yeah, agenda. And this is hopefully the questions that we'll be aiming to answer. So we'll be looking at the what, which is what is business analysis, common business analysis techniques, and a question for a lot of people that they're keen to know, what does a business analyst do? The who, for example, who is a business analyst and what are the different types of business analysts out there in the market, because it's quite diverse. And then the why. So why is business analyst important? And why is having diverse skills important for business analysis? So I have a colleague in the background and she's like waving her hands in the air because it's quite a big thing. And then the how. How do you know if the BA role will suit you or not? And Caroline will also touch on the career progression for a BA and also how to bridge the gaps to build your BA career. So again, if you could just log back into the poll, we'd just like to get a bit of an idea to understand how much you all know about business analysts, starting from today is the first time I've heard about this, or something, to some people, you may already be experienced in working as a BA in the past. So just let people log back in, and if you could just answer that, that'll be great. Cool. So just looking at it, seems to be a lot of people already considering a pathway in business analysis. So I hope this talk will be really helpful for you. And then we've got some people who are just interested in kind of finding out about the BA role itself. And we even have some experienced BAs in the core as well. Awesome. All right. So thank you everyone for answering here. And I'll just quickly go over then a few fun BA facts to set the scene a little bit as to the BA market in New Zealand. First things, it's quite a high in demand role. So going back even in 2018, before a lot of the digital transformations happened in New Zealand, there was well over 15,000 BA roles in the market. And in recent times, it's also been called out by seek.co.nz, which is a job search platform, as a top 10 role in demand in New Zealand. Secondly, there's quite a lucrative salary pathway if money is your thing. So junior BAs can start off a little bit higher off in the most junior tech roles. And as you can see, as you expand up your career, there's quite a jump in career. And that's not talking about going into contracting as well. Another really cool thing about the BA space is that it's a very diverse industry. So globally, and similar in New Zealand, it's about 45% of BAs are female or gender diverse, which is significantly higher than the average of female and gender diverse representation in the tech industry, which is around 30%. And of course, unique career pathways. So BAs can come from all sorts of career experiences and backgrounds. I think Caroline and myself can attest to that, coming from a science and IR background. And secondly, unlike a lot of roles in the tech industry, it's okay to have a varied coding or technical experience because people will play to different strengths around that there. And we'll talk more as to some of the pathways you could take. So now getting into the crux of it. So what is business analysis? And I've tried to kind of simplify this down as much as I can. So business analysis is a craft that aims to enable change in an organization by really defining its needs and recommending solutions to deliver value to its stakeholders. And we use various tools and techniques that help identify problems, analyze data to develop solutions that improve business outcomes and change. And when I talk about tools and techniques, this is the reason why I have this book on the right here showing called the BA, which is the guide to the business analysis body of knowledge, which has over 50 tried and true BA techniques that have been tested throughout the years of time. And the really cool thing about business analysis is that it's a tool and techniques that can be used on very different initiatives, from your strategic, super big picture strategy stuff to more technical projects like your IT system implementation and so on, to operational day-to-day stuff. It can also be used within organizations of all sizes. So you'll find that lots of the big multinational companies have BAs, to smaller SMEs, small, medium enterprises, to startup companies, to even non-for-profits, like a lot of the BA Career Meetup processes have been set up in using very similar BA techniques and so on. And then lastly, there's lots of different project types as well. So you have stuff that's based around technology and systems, things around processes, improvements, and then also things around working with people as well. And then moving on and just talking a little bit about some of the techniques, just to give you an idea. Some common BA techniques that we use include the following. This gives you an idea on the taster. First thing is process mapping, which we actually document an end-to-end of a process to look for opportunities and gaps for improvement. Next thing is requirements and needs elicitation. That's when we will talk to stakeholders to find out about what are their needs to inform the design for different software or different tools and stuff that they could be using. Customer journey and experience mapping is when you map out a customer journey to understand what are their key pain points and what are their needs as well. And then we do more high-level things such as strategy, design, and implementation, which I talked about, and also things around developing business and data insights, which could be doing things through like data analysis or putting together business cases to drive change. And then we're using all these techniques and identifying, solving problems, analyzing data and developing solutions. The key importance that business analysis brings is it helps provide clarity and confidence to decision makers to really achieve the following, which I sort of touched on before. Got things around identifying business and customer needs. You help to improve your business processes and efficiencies, increase performance growth, drive innovation, and also, especially in more recent years, there's been a huge push to comply with different changes in industry regulations as well. Okay, so then moving down to the who. So who is a business analyst? And this is again is a very simplified description. So a business analyst is anyone who performs business analyst tasks. This title could vary from organization to organization, but primarily these tasks will include things like I mentioned about identifying business needs, gathering requirements, analyzing data and processes, and also proposing solutions that enhance business outcomes. But although a lot of other roles would potentially cover some of those tasks and activities, business analysts are also really key players in fostering collaboration between the business side, the IT side, and other stakeholders to ensure business objectives are met, primarily through effective usage of working with how people work together, how processes fit together, and how technology enables everything in between. So moving on then from the who, then what are the common BA types that you're going to get? So business analyst types can be divided into many different types and categorized based on your skill sets, employment types, and experience. So the key one that often comes up is the technical versus business BA. Technical BAs are generally people who focus and play around more with stuff to do with technology, whereas business BAs would sit more so on the people side or the business side, along with also looking at things around processes as well, a little bit more. There's different employment types. So there's the in-house roles, which would be work as a BA inside a company, versus being a contractor, which is actually work from project to project, to a consultancy firm like myself, which is that we are, we provide services for a consultancy lens. And then on top, as I started to mention before too, there's lots of different specialities as well in the BA space. So you have people who focus primarily more on the agile practice, whereas others will be stronger, say, in things like compliance, or myself, I do a little bit more around the data space. And then you have others who do things like governance or process, or they do things like they design products and software, for example. And then moving on, just to give you a taste of what the product lifecycle of business analysts would look like, but this is quite unique to the BA role. So in reality, the product lifecycle that a business analyst is involved in could be a bit of everything. So we could be working within one or four different phases. And quite often, when we're deployed out on a project or on a role, we could be involved in one, some, or across all of the phases in the project. And these four phases can be broken down into a few different things. Firstly, the discovery phase, which is really what we call understanding the current state of an IT system or business process. And then once we've understood what the current state is, we would look to the design phase, which is then designing the future state solution or the future solution that will enable the change from a current state. So you think of, say, for example, we have an old IT system, which we analyze in the discovery phase, and then we design a new IT system that would then replace it, which then leads on to the implementation phase, which is where we actually then implement the solution to replace the current state. And we'll talk a little bit more in detail on the next slide. And then finally, the go live phase, which is then you support the new solution post-implementation. And although it seems relatively straightforward on a nice high-level diagram like this, in reality, it does get a little bit more tricky in terms of the activities that you do. So giving you a little bit of an example of a software program that I actually had to help install for our company's finance team. So first things first, during the discovery phase, the key for me was to understand the business customer problems and goals. So I went to go and talk to the finance team. I had a few basic stakeholder interviews, did some documentation review as to what some of the problems were coming up and learning about the problems that were coming up with the tool that they were using. And then I put together a little bit of a business case and did some project scoping just to say this is how long, work could potentially take and so on. And then once I understood what their problems were and the challenges were, we then moved on to the design phase, which was then designing a solution or finding a product that would fit their need. So we did that through stakeholder workshops, which is where you sit down and you talk over different functional needs and also understand what would make the problem go away. And then through that there, you then elicit requirements, which are things that you want the product to be able to do. So, and once I had that information, I then had to go to market, which is having a look at different technology options. And then I put that all down on paper, gave together an estimate costing and so on and so forth, and an implementation plan, which was then signed off by the business, which then allowed me to implement the product. So that's, in short, as I put in purple, implementing the new software. But of course, that's also where things get quite tricky because you're supporting solution delivery, which is essentially managing alignment between the solution, the IT, and also the business side. And there's obviously a lot of tensions between IT people and business people and expectations and so on and so forth. So there's lots of change management that's involved between the two. And then also on top, once the solution's somewhat implemented, you also need to test it to make sure it works. Like I remember the first round when I implemented this, we found a whole bunch of different bugs, so we had to start again and so on and so forth to make sure that once the product finally does go live, everything's okay and the product's working. So, in that phase, the go live phase there, I was doing things like following up, just checking up on the team that they were okay with the product, and then also providing, user training support, so teaching them how to use the product effectively, and then also handover support as well, which is putting them in a good position so that when the BA leaves, they're comfortable to use the product and so on. Okay, so in a nutshell, that was quite a lot about the what, the who, and a lot about the BA project lifecycle and so on. I'll pass over to Caroline now, and she'll be talking a little bit more about some of the, what makes a BA and what are some of the skills required to become a BA.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, so if you could please log back into the Slido, I would really like to invite you to think about what kind of skills BAs should have with you, like based on your current knowledge, what do you think in terms of soft skills, hard skills, technical skills? If you could just type them into the Slido platform and we will see them pop up as a word cloud like we did before. Great. I see a couple of people are typing away. Communication comes through as one of the biggest ones so far. But also things like critical thinking, stakeholder engagement, problem solving, collaboration, an open mind, yes, definitely. Research, agile, definitely in some spaces. Data analysis skills, analytical skills, which I guess is similar, technical skills. Yeah, these are some really great ideas. What else do we have? Power BI, I guess, as a tool itself. SQL, again, a tool. Change management, yeah. What else have we got? Teamwork, requirements gathering, programming, elicitation. Yeah, these are all great. You seem to have a really great idea already what skills are beneficial for us as BAs. What else is coming through? Organizational skills. Documentation, yes, that's a very important one as well. Understanding people, communication, yeah. Listening, yeah. Great. Leadership skills, that's definitely true as well. Attention to detail, yes. I am under the impression, Python, yeah, some tools are popping up. I'm under the impression that things are slowly settling down. I see there's about 3 people still typing. We might just move on from here. And it really seems like you guys have a great understanding of some of the top skills the BA should have, definitely. I yeah, I thought I would just, based on a course that I have completed in 2022, which was the Business Analysis Foundations course, I have put together this slide. And during that course, it was highlighted that BAs are multifaceted professionals, and they definitely highlighted three main categories of skills that a BA should have. And these are domain knowledge, technical skills, and soft skills. For the domain knowledge is basically what you know about a specific industry. This could be science, banking, or the government, or any other like industries. And I guess I just want to highlight here that don't be discouraged, because you might have a student job, or you will be moving into an internship through Summer of Tech, and that will already set you up to gather some domain knowledge. So don't think that you don't have any. I'm sure you are on a great way of establishing some domain knowledge already. In terms of technical skills, I mean, as you all know, technical skills are specialized knowledge or expertise that are required to perform a specific task. And for us business analysts, some examples are, like you mentioned as well, like stakeholder management, requirement elicitation, or gap analysis. And the cool thing is that even during your university years, you can definitely practice some of these skills already. One example I like to bring up is stakeholder management. For example, while you're writing your thesis, you might have multiple advisors, and these they most likely will have different expectations and different ideas of where your thesis should go. And that's a really great example of managing your stakeholders, because you will have to manage their expectations, and you will have to negotiate in order to then move forward and to complete your, I guess, a thesis writing. And then lastly, the third category, the soft skills. Again, you obviously know all this. They are personal skills that enable you to effectively communicate. And I personally think for us BAs, the two most important soft skills are definitely communication and relationship building. And this is something you guys already know based on the word cloud. But yeah, communication obviously includes written as well as verbal communication. As BAs, we don't make decisions, but what we do is we provide information and outline information to others so that they can make informed decisions. And in order to, I guess, gather this information, we need to build trusting relationships. So from my point of view, relationship building and communication are the two most important soft skills for BAs. So we thought it might be helpful to guide you in understanding where you are at with your BA-related skills. And this is why we have designed a short, quiz or a short quiz or a set of questions that can help you, I guess, understand whether the BA career path is right for you. And this quiz is designed on the most common BA competencies. And the idea behind this is really to indicate if you already have a good base of BA skills. Please keep in mind that obviously 12 questions aren't really enough to determine if the BA career path or the BA role is right for you. And also skills can be developed. So don't be discouraged if you can't answer all of these with a yes. So the idea behind this set of questions is to, in your own time, to go through them and answer each individual question with yes or no. And then at the end, you can count the number of yeses. And then you will fall into one of the three categories on the side. And that will then give you an indication of where you're at with BA-related skills. And I guess in order to decide if a BA role is the right fit for you, you might also want to consider how you can progress over time in the BA career, in your BA career. And this is why we have designed and displayed on the next slide the vast opportunities that a BA career can move into. So the idea behind this slide is, as it says, it's a non-exhaustive list. But one aspect I personally really love about the BA career path is that it opens a lot of doors. And this is what this slide is really about. It is basically there to show you some of the examples that you might move into. And as you can see that over the years, the more experience you gather, you can start moving into more senior roles and possibly managerial roles, or then other leadership roles, or even become an entrepreneur and I guess open up your own business. I guess one example could be if you really love being a BA, you could move from a junior role into an intermediate role to a senior role and to a like lead or BA management role. But I guess another really common pathway is for people to move from a junior role and then they start deciding, oh, maybe I'm quite interested into product. So they may move into like a product analyst role and a product ownership role or product management role then. Or they find out, BA, yes, is exciting, but I want to move into a project management role. So there are lots and lots of opportunities. And as I mentioned, this is something I really love because it just opens doors. And that's how I see it. So what can you do if you want to become a BA? I personally say practice being a BA to become a BA. So what you want to do, and this is what we have displayed on this slide, is what we call gap analysis. And a gap analysis starts off with mapping out your current state. So you would start off looking at what kind of skills do you have, what knowledge, what mindset, experience, what does your network look like? So you really start mapping out and looking at what do you currently have. The next step then would be to decide your future state. So where do you want to be? What kind of experiences do you want to gather? What kind of knowledge or skills do you want to acquire or just deepen and become more proficient in certain skills? So you map out your future state. Then you identify the gaps between the now and the future. And then you craft a plan of how you can bridge this gap. And then you start acting. And how, I guess, bridging the gap looks like is something I would like to demonstrate on the next slide. And I would love to talk about my own experience when I transitioned into the BA world. When I guess this action plan of bridging the gap, I personally think four steps are really important, and they are highlighted here: the research, learning, connecting, and then applying. And as mentioned, I would like to just walk you through what I did when I transitioned from my instructional design role into the business analyst role. And at my previous job as an instructional designer, I was already performing some, I guess, BA-related tasks. I was looking at some process improvements, and I was working very closely with our product manager at the time, providing her with information and data that she needed in order to make, I guess, informed decisions. And I really, really enjoyed doing those kind of tasks. So I just started talking to my manager, and we were basically just bouncing ideas off each other. I told them what I enjoy doing, and they kind of started talking to me, or suggesting some kind of, I guess, job titles, if you like. So my managers at the time were extremely supportive, and I'm still like very grateful that they really took the time and really were, I guess, interested in developing me further. So we just bounced ideas off each other, and I then started looking at some of the job titles that were suggested. And one of them was business analyst, another one was data scientist or data analyst. And the first phase of research, I then really just Googled and started to look at what do these professionals do, and started comparing these different job titles. And by doing that, I started to see that for me personally, the business analyst was the role that I wanted to learn more about and that I wanted to move towards. So I can just, in that, I guess, initial research phase, I can just encourage you all to just talk to as many people as you can, and to start finding out information online or just by talking to people. I then moved on to the second phase, the learning phase, where once I had decided that the business analyst role was something that I wanted to progress with, I started completing some online courses on LinkedIn and on Coursera to, again, in more depth, understand what BAs do, but also to understand what language they use, because I really found that knowing the language is extremely important. And so I completed some tasks, and I again spoke to my managers and asked them, I guess, based on the knowledge I had gathered, asked them if I could complete certain tasks that I thought were BA related. I started writing a proposal of how a BA could benefit my team at the time, and also performed other tasks just to gather some experience, I guess. Then I moved into the third step, the connecting, and I guess I took kind of two approaches. One, on the one hand, I started connecting with people through a mentoring circle, which is called Women in Tech, which I can highly recommend. It was a very great set of women that just exchanged knowledge, and I was able to connect with other BAs through that mentoring circle. But also I just randomly, well, sort of randomly, reached out to people on LinkedIn and just asked if I could ask some questions, if they were happy to meet me for a coffee. And that way just, connected with people. And another thing that I can encourage you guys do is just, I guess, start telling people what you want to do and where you want to go. Let it be family or neighbors, or you now have the Summer of Tech community that you can start connecting with and sharing what you want to do. And people are great. People usually just help you, and they will connect you with the right people if they know someone. So just, start talking about what you want to do. And then the fourth and last step is really applying. This was then when I was confident that I knew the right language and that I had some BA-related experience. I started applying for jobs. And this is then when I was offered the BA role at NZQA. And that is when I then started, I guess, applying my skill set and applying my knowledge that I had gathered so far, but obviously also growing. Once I was in the job, I was growing and improving my skill set. And I just want to, I guess, highlight here that these 4 activities of, I guess, assessing where you are and where you want to be, and then moving through these 4 activities is really something that you want to do quite regularly during your career. And I personally more recently have been working with a coach to determine my next career step. And we have been going through these very same steps to determine the next step. So I personally find these steps very helpful, and I keep them in the back of my head and keep going back to assessing, am I where I want to be, or do I have to adjust? So yeah, I can highly encourage to move through these steps regularly. And yeah, this leads us to the end of our prepared content. And yeah, feel free to ask questions and to connect with us if the BA career path and role is something that you are interested in, or that you want to learn more about. You can connect with us via our LinkedIn page. We also have a YouTube channel where we upload all of our online seminars that we do, or recordings of our online seminars. And through the Meetup, I guess, platform itself, when we do have seminars or other events, they will be posted through Meetup. So please do connect with us if you want to find out more. And Greg and I are here now to ask questions that you might have. And I would invite you to add your questions to the Slido or submit them through the Slido platform. Oh, we already have a few questions here. And then Greg and I will do our best to answer your questions. Yeah, Greg, are you ready?
Ready. But looking at the first one and considering myself a little bit more on the business side of things, I might hand the first one to you. So what skills is required for a technical business analyst?
Yeah. So as we have gone through some of the skills required, and as a technical business analyst, I would say, as we discussed, definitely the soft skills, communication and relationship building is extremely important. But as a technical BA, if you are looking more towards the technical skills, it highly really depends on where you work. But skills like SQL, I guess another tool that's used is Power BI, Tableau, and then again, it depends on where you work, what kind of software they use. Those are definitely skills you would need. Do you have any other skills, Greg, that you would add?
Same again to yourself, but just adding to that there, I think also technical BAs often have a deeper level of technical experience as well. So if you have an area that you really want to get strong in, for example, like data analytics, it's really good to actually be able to demonstrate your practical experiences and have some hands-on skills as well. Because when you're going to be communicating with different people, you actually got to talk to it from a more technical aspect, which could be talking about like data models or like the way data warehousing works and so on, which is quite different to say someone on say, my end who would be talking more to like, by having this data, you will be able to communicate this to your business stakeholders, which is quite a different approach. So then moving on to the next question. So thank you firstly for that question there. And I'm just quickly trying to work out a few things as to the question management part, which isn't quite doing what it should be doing on my end. But anyway, yeah, so the next question that's come up is around study pathways that are required to become a BA. And I guess in my case, you know, I took a formal pathway by doing my master's in It was a Master's of Professional Business Analysis. But in saying that, it's not a necessity or a requirement to do any formal study as such. A lot of people actually quite often, once they gain some technical experience or work experience, SME experience, they end up moving on and moving up into the BA role. And saying that there are courses like, Caroline's mentioned on like things like Coursera, or you could also contact the IABA and do some of their base certifications there. But in saying that, officially speaking, there's no real necessary study pathway as such. It's just something that study will help enable you to be able to get into the BA profession. Cool. Just seeing another question that's come up to the top. Any tips for landing your first role in internship? What was your experience like? So I think we can both talk to this. And since I just asked the last question, Caroline, what was it like for you getting your first role
Yeah.
after university?
Yeah, as I mentioned I think for me, what I thought was really, really important is really understanding the language, understanding, yeah, the words, if you like, that are used to describe certain things. And I guess trying to, during your studies, during your job as a student, try to look at what you are currently doing and try to, I guess, gather BA related tasks. Let's say, even if you work in a cafe and if you have improved some of their processes where something was super disorganized, and then you thought, oh, why don't we do ABC instead of ACB, and suggested that to a manager. That is already a great example of something a BA could do. So I guess in what you are doing currently and what you have experienced during your studies or your job that you're doing on the side, looking at what you have done and looking at how you can sell what you have done as BA related skills and tasks. And then really applying the correct language, because I guess, unfortunately, as professionals, when we read a CV or when we read a cover letter, we look for certain keywords. And if the keywords aren't there, your cover letter or CV might be missed, even though you do have the skills that are required. So it's really about that research and learning phase to understand how we call certain things, and yeah, identifying how you can, I guess, shape and show your experience as BA experience. Yeah, that's what I would say.
And then I guess some general advice for me about landing your first role, even some of a tech internship. I guess what like Caroline kind of said, you kind of have to know how to speak your story and your goals, and be able to share that really clearly and concisely with people. Because when I went out to start to get internship opportunities and stuff, I was quite clear in saying that, like, this is who I am, this is what I've done, and this is where I want to go. Very much saying this is where my current state is, and this is where I want to get to, and these are the things that I'm doing in between to try and get there. Because that's a really clear way of telling your own personal story and personal brand. So once people met me, they were like, oh, look, this is Greg. He lived overseas. Now he's doing his master's and he wants to go and do this. And he's interested in these things, as demonstrated by having a part-time job doing market research, or being involved in certain community activities, or being involved in the student community doing things like this. And once people can kind of tell that there, they can start to see a bit of potential in you, because you're already demonstrating the skills that they want to see and so on. And sometimes it is as scary as just being really open and sharing people your dreams as well. Because to be fair, in New Zealand, we don't have a culture that we speak out like, I want to do this or I want to do that, for various reasons. But if you can kind of get that story really clear and precise, people start to notice it. And then the more you say it, the more confidence you build up to be able to go and engage with organizations. And then you start to build these mutual interest in each other, which helps you to land your first role or internship. Cool. We'll move on to another question. And guess, how easy is it to work overseas as a BA? I would say very easily. In fact, even locally, you can work. A lot of BA roles are remote. Like for example, Sophie Chen from BA Career Meetup, she works in a digital nomad lifestyle from Queenstown, for example. And because a lot of the skills are very transferable and so on, if you were to go overseas, yes, you may need to get to know the local market conditions, or you may need some certifications depending on the market. But generally speaking, it is quite a transferable skill. Um, and in fact, I can attest to that in Red Vespa, actually. In that our organization, we have about 17 different nationalities with a lot of people moving from overseas, from South Africa, Philippines, America even, and they've actually come to New Zealand to work as BAs at our organization, for example. All right, Caroline, I'm going to give you a hard question. What do you find was the hardest part of being a BA?
I personally, as much as I said, communication is the hardest, the most important soft skill for us BAs. I also do find it the hardest at times because we are all different. We all communicate differently, and I guess it really does require a lot of time understanding your stakeholders and knowing and finding out how each individual person likes to communicate. I guess an example I have at work, it took me a wee while to figure out that one of my colleagues just does not reply to any Teams messages or any emails. If you want something from him, if you need any information, you do need to show up at the desk and say, hey, how's it going? And really, build the relationship and really talk to someone personally, whereas other people, might very easily just respond to a Teams message. So really understanding each of your stakeholders individually and understanding how they like to communicate. So even though it's one of the most important skills, sometimes communication can also be the hardest. That's what I found.
Yeah, and I can add to that that for me, the technology and strategy side is actually incredibly easy, but the people side and getting people to agree on the strategy or the technology to implement is always the tricky part. Cool. Just looking at the time, we'll do one more question, and I apologize for others who have questions on the fly. I will try to get back to you on those because I can see there's a lot in the background. And I'll maybe draft something up and look to apply those. So the last one, what are the keywords I'm assuming hiring managers look for in a CV to stand out? And I'm going to challenge this question a bit and kind of use my data analysis or data background a little bit here. It's not necessarily keywords that people are looking for, it's the experiences, right? Because when you have really interesting and unique experiences as a student, you can then put them in to your resume or your CV to make your profile stand out. Because you can write things over and over again and make it sound really cool. But when people get to the crux of it and they're like, oh, so you only mean like this, small little activity that you did, you just tried to scale out in terms of size and stuff. People are smart and they often see through that. So rather than thinking about keywords and so on, think about the key experiences you can share and how you can word those. Be it, being a student representative in your class or doing your own little side projects on the side to develop your tech skills, or even doing things like in the wider community. Like I'm a really big proponent, and volunteering demonstrates all sorts of skills and experiences that translate well into the workplace. And other things too, like tutoring and so on as well, are really good ways to kind of stand out and stuff too. Because the reality is like the keywords come from experiences, and the more interesting and rich experiences you have as your student profile, the more way your profile is going to stand out. And I know that's a bit of a bittersweet kind of pill because people think that, oh, it's the CV, and if you write a great CV, yes, writing a great CV is important, but a great CV becomes amazing CV by the experiences and the richness of your background that you can display in it. Yeah, so I think probably for time, bang on 6:30, we'll leave it there. And as I said, Caroline and I will endeavor to get back to the rest of your questions, as there's quite a few in the background there. And yeah, if I just go back one slide, just in the talk again. So as Caroline mentioned, we have a really active platform on Meetup. So feel free to follow us on there. And it'd be really cool because we're actually quite close to getting to 1,500 members. So if a few of you jump on there, I'm sure we'll get there. And then also there's lots of resources too on our BA Career YouTube site too as well. Like I know a lot of people talked about Power BI, and we actually had someone who was a Power BI specialist actually come on our platform recently, named Peter Lee, I believe, and he talks to all these like learning materials that he did to build up his career and so on. So yeah, just really want to say thanks again. And Caroline, any final thoughts from you?
Not really. I just really want to thank everyone for their time and attention. And as you said, Greg, feel free to reach out, connect with us, and we are more than happy to answer questions, any questions you might have. And I really hope that the material we have on our YouTube channel, for example, already will help you to get an even more in-depth understanding of what business analysts do.
Cool. All right. Well, in that case, thank you everyone for the kind messages. And yeah, it was really cool to hang out tonight. I saw some people asking for the PowerPoint as well. And I'll make sure I'll send over a PDF copy to yourself, Danielle, so you can share that around as well with the video. All right. Well, in that
Awesome.
case,
Thank you.
all right. Thanks, everyone. Take
That was
care. Have a
great.
good night.
Well, Marie.